Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mr. Reality, and I'm joined with Liz Cross. How are you, Liz?
Great, thank you. What do we have here?
This is an exploration in things that I don't know much about, but I thought we could try it and wing it. Those are always the most fun. Sappho is a Greek poet from the 6th century BC, and not much has survived of the works that she wrote, and not much has survived about her life. As far as I know, we might be able to find out more, but I wondered if this is a real entity, a person, and if she could come forth and talk to us about her life and fill in the blanks.
I feel like this is a collective.
Not a real human. Interesting. Like a group of how many people? And can the people come forth?
4 people, male and female.
Really?
hmm
Do you see more than one people here? Are there lots of people in this collective group?
They were all around at the same time. And I'm getting that the work that was produced, they produced it together, but they just called themselves Sappho.
Was it like a traveling group of performers at the time, or were they just anonymously publishing information and poetry?
No, they weren't entertainers. They were, they also wrote a lot of political stuff. I don't know what you know about their writings, but I feel like they would publish things. Um, they would recreate the oral teachings of it, but a lot of it was sort of anti-political, religion, very much like self-empowerment type of stuff.
And so it says here that character Sappho was from a wealthy family, and now you're saying that's not factual, but how many people are involved in this little writing circle that have come forth and are attached to it?
There's 4. So there is a female. There's 2 females and 2 males.
Were they partners or were they a group of partners?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of that going on.
A
Uh,
more amorous sense? It's a family
yeah,
show, right? Okay.
yeah.
And so, what was their goal in creating this story and this fictional account or this poetry? And what do they feel about the legacy of this poetry and how it's taken on a life of its own? I'm sorry, it's a compound question, but
Well, it was about free love as well. You shouldn't have to conform to societal rules. You should be able to express yourself. Um, yeah, it's really about freedom.
so is both freedom politically, freedom sexuality wise, and freedom expression wise. How do they feel that their poetry that they create, I guess, how much of their poetry do they feel has been lost to the ages of antiquity? We only have 600 lines of the many things they've written, but how prolific were they in writing?
Oh, they wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things. I mean, really, they did. Lots and lots of, that's all they did. They also were under hallucinogenics. They had something that they would take or partake in. They were into alcohol as well. They were wealthy, okay? They didn't have to really work like the rest of the population. They were just free to have this type of lifestyle and to create poetry.
It's a pretty good racket if you can get it. What do they feel about their Greece today from compared to when they lived in Greece
So funny because
600 years ago?
they're like saying to me, it's relatively the same. This still the same, social constraints, still a lot of poverty, not a lot of freedom. It's still very just unexpressive, is what they're saying. They were all about freedom of expression.
Do they see that changing anytime in the near future? Probably not since 2,600 years of the same, but in their opinion.
No, they don't. They don't. It's not going to change until, in their opinion, they overthrow the government.
Can they see the continuity of their island of Greece like out 400 years, 300 years, 500 years? Do they have that sense or are they not aware of that information?
Will Greece still be there in 400 years? I don't think it'll still be just Greece. It's almost like it's more of a one nation Europe.
I think they tried that. I can't remember if that worked or not. But do they have an access to what's going to come in the future? Is my question. Or are they as in the dark as we all are?
No, the future of Greece, they're going to they're going to join forces with other European countries. They can't survive on their own financially. It's impossible, is what I'm getting. Will the Greek culture still be there? I feel like once you have this sort of combined nation, the culture is really going to start to erode as well.
That's unfortunate. How far out do they see that happening?
About 200 years.
Do they go to different places and read different poetry in the afterlife?
Yes, yes, they do have a poets corner. Wow. Okay. I'm like, wow, that's great. And they use poetry to determine what their next lifetime is going to be.
How many
So
people come to Poetry Corner in the afterlife?
hundreds, hundreds. Yeah, poetry corner. Wow. I think I would like that.
What type of things do they express at this Poetry Corner? And shape, give us a shape of what that meeting looks like.
Well, it's like a poetry night, open mic poetry night. So they're all bringing their poetry and they're all sort of reciting it in front of others, and it's about exchanging ideas not only in the afterlife but for the future lifetimes. It's really interesting how they're doing it. It's about it's almost like a learning system that they have. Sometimes when we get on the other side, we have to learn, we have to go to school, right? How could we have done this better? And this is part of their like schooling, their education. They've just turned it into something more meaningful for them, something more fun for them. And I get this because not every bit of learning in a school or a classroom setting is about just sitting there absorbing information. It's about making it fun and memorable in order to feel passionate about the material, and so that's what they're doing.
Are they attempting to change? And do they think that they will be successful in illuminating people's incarnations forward?
I'm asking them if poetry is dying out, and they're saying no. And how are you going to be poets in the future? Yes, they're going to be very poetic in the future lifetimes. I feel like they're going to be Ivy League scholars as well. They're going to be in that circle again, very wealthy, just very creative. I'm like, wow, so you've had multiple lifetimes where you have been wealthy and had this freedom to create, and just about every lifetime. And I'm saying, okay, why is it that you get to have that lifetime, and then others of us, others here on the earth plane, we have to struggle, and the struggles are very different. So their struggles are a lot of love triangles, a lot of, heartache and pain and why am I not good enough? Whereas a lot of other people's struggles are like, okay, I got to pay bills, right? So they do have a lot of struggles, and they also have a lot of psychological issues. It's about not having to work to find this sense of purpose. So it becomes more difficult to find that purpose. Those of us that we have to go out and work, that gives us a sense of purpose. We exchange our energy for money and our productivity, whereas they don't have to do that. So therefore, they have to look in other areas to find this sense of purpose. And their sense of purpose is about bringing messages to the world, teaching people how to be creative, and again, those love triangles that they're in as well.
I wanted to ask, how difficult is it to incorporate your soul when part of it crosses over and comes back to you?
It's very easy. It's very easy to, the soul just fits in the body. And then it comes back out, and that's just like another tick in the box. Oh, okay, that was another lifetime. We again, I've said this, I think in another video long ago, but we think of this lifetime, the here and now, as like the most important thing we've ever experienced. And yes, to our conscious mind, it is. The here and now is like the most important thing, but to a soul, the soul is like, this is nothing. This is nothing. We've been through wars, we've been through famine, we've been through, hunting and gathering and tribes, and we've done all that. So on the soul level, this time, the here and now, is really so small and insignificant, but we see it as very significant. Now, the one thing I will say is this, and I've said this to our CTT group. Those of you listening now, the here and now, the way you make it significant is the fact that you understand that you have to process and you have to find consciousness expansion. You may not get that opportunity again in another lifetime. It could be 10, 15, 20 lifetimes from now. So those of you that are sitting around watching mindless shows, doing mindless activities, yeah, okay, it's okay to relax, but it's very important that you take advantage of this opportunity, because when you cross over, you may say, wow, I really wasted so much time and I should have been working on my soul. I'm not going to have that opportunity again. So my message is this, and I think that our friend Sappho will agree, and they do, they're nodding their heads. You have to take advantage of the time now. Don't waste this time just, engaging in mindless drivel, right? Every time you are not learning and processing and healing and connecting to your soul, you're wasting time.
I don't think I could have said it any better myself with that. you should sign up for a remote viewing course and learn to evolve your soul and learn the other things that I can teach you. So if you're interested in that, please hop over to at Reality Forecast or send me an email, remoteview@gmail.com. My next course is in January. The one that we're doing right now is great. And Liz, thank you so much. And the collective of Sapphos, I
Yeah,
appreciate you conversing with us today.
they're going to go back to their amorous lifestyle now. There was a lot of that going on.
Thanks,
Woo,
everybody.
thank you.